The Battle of Abu Klea, also known as the Battle of Abu Klea, took place between 16 and 18 January 1885 at Abu Klea, Sudan, between the British Desert Column and Mahdist forces encamped near Abu Klea. The Desert Column, a force of approximately 1,400 soldiers, started from Korti, Sudan on 30 December 1884. The Desert Column's mission in a joint effort titled the Gordon Relief Expedition was to march across by the desert to the aid of General Charles George Gordon at Khartoum, Sudan, who was sieged there by Mahdist forces. The place is generally known in British military records as Abu Klea, which arose as a contemporary British spelling of its Arabic name, Abu Klea. The British commander, Sir Herbert Stuart, was mortally wounded during the battle. The British forces consisted of 1,400 British of the Desert Column under Sir Herbert Stuart against a Sudanese force of approximately 14,000 fighters, while the main British force, led by General Sir Garnet Wolseley, travelled by river from Korti to Khartoum. Stuart's column was to cut across country by column directly for Khartoum, since time was running short according to what little information was available from the garrison. The force was composed of 4 regiments of camel-mounted troops, detachments of the various infantry regiments of Egypt and of the river column, and a detachment of the 19 hussars mounted on horses, 4 light field pieces and a small naval brigade manning a Gardner machine gun completed the force. The Desert Column arrived on the salient overlooking the Wadi of Abu Klea not long before sunset, and Stuart decided not to attack the night. The British built a defensive position, but were sniped from the high ground around by Mahdist rifle units, mainly soldiers from Southern Sudan, all night. They took several casualties. At first light, Stuart ordered them to form a square, which they achieved with perfect discipline through still under fire from enemy snipers. The square moved slowly toward the well along the side of the wadi over very difficult undulating ground. Suddenly the square was ambushed by a huge Mahdist force that had been concealing itself in the wadi. The British guns were on the leading phase of the square, and the naval brigade with their Gardner machine gun at the rear left-hand corner nearest the wadi. As the British halted to repel the Mahdist force, a gap opened up toward the rear left corner of the square. This was caused when Captain Lord Charles Beresford, commanding of the naval brigade, ordered the Gardner gun to be run out on the left flank of the infantry square to provide covering fire. Colonel Frederick Gustav Burnaby then gave an impromptu order for the heavy camel regiment to wheel out of the square in support of the Gardner gun. The gun had been tested and found very reliable in the Britain, but had not been tested in the desert with loose sand getting into its mechanism. It fired 70 rounds and then jammed, and as the crew tried to clear they were cut down in a rush by the dervishes. The battle was short, lasting barely 15 minutes from start to finish. Casualties for the British were 9 officers and 65 of the ranks killed and over 100 wounded. The Mahdists lost 1,100 dead during the 15 minutes of fighting, made all the world worse by only 3,000, 5,000 of the Dervish force being engaged. Among the Dervish dead was Musa Wadhelu, one of the Mahdist chiefs. British national hero Colonel Burnaby of the Royal Horse Guards was killed by a spear to the throat.